So for my social work course, I have to do an interview, and I thought we'd talk about your journey through university up until what you're doing now. So you can begin with your first year university and your choices.
Okay. I guess at high school I was planning on doing business. I wanted to open my own business, so went to UNBSJ in 2008, I think it was, and I did a year of business there. I hated it, and then I dropped out for a bit.
UNBSJ is in St. John.
St. John, New Brunswick, sorry. And then I dropped out for a year, tried to figure out what I wanted to do, and I ultimately ended up doing kinesiology in Fredericton at University of New Brunswick. And I did that for 5 years and graduated there in 2014, I believe.
So what did you do? What did you want to? What kind of business did you want to start? Starting in your first year, what made you go into
What
business?
was that reason? I think I wanted to open like a sports store or something along those lines.
Like hockey cards and jerseys.
Something like that. I don't know, anything sports related probably would have been alright.
So then you went. So you took a year off.
Took a year off.
What did you do?
I worked in a lot of different trades jobs.
Such as?
I worked as a mover. I worked as an electrician's assistant. Anything along those lines. I was basically.
If you don't mind me asking, why did you have so many different types of jobs?
I don't know. A lot of them just ended for various reasons. The electrician's assistant one was only a summer placement. The moving company was the job I had previous to me going back to university, so I left it. It was a job I had right up until. But I basically, when I became a mover, I kind of realized that I was too smart to be working in such a trade, and I needed to go get an education. So I went back to university, and I went through something health field related, still sports related. So I ended up choosing kinesiology in Fredericton.
Where did you hear about kinesiology? Was there a person that kind of influenced your decision, or did you just come across it on your own?
Yeah, I think I just basically came across on my own during that year. There was a lot of self-reflection and trying to figure out what I want to do. I was leaning towards all different things: paramedicine, firefighting, and then I don't know what made me choose that. I think maybe I had some friends going up to Fredericton, so I chose it for that reason.
So you're in Fredericton. So you mentioned paramedicine and firefighting.
Mm-hmm.
Those sound like helping jobs.
Yeah.
Are you the kind of person that leans towards helping people?
Yeah, I guess so, especially where I'm at now. So after university there, I was planning on getting into um, athletic training professional athletes. And so I was working towards that. I was going back to school again after my degree and graduated. And now I'm doing osteopathy in Ontario, which is another form of medicine, holistic. And so I guess everything I've ever chosen is towards helping people. I always wanted to help somebody, and so it absolutely was part of my decision.
So tell me about osteopathy, because that's not a word that I think a lot of people hear.
Yeah, it's not one easily described either. Most people believe, oh, it's something with the bones, and it's much
osteo
more than,
sounds like bone.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Can you give like a definition?
Yes, I can. It'll be not a clear one probably, but basically it is a form of manual therapy. Um, we use arms and legs as levers to manipulate other parts of the body. So there's nothing invasive. We don't inject or anything like that. It's similar to what would be like chiropractic, except much more advanced in the sense that it requires different studies, I guess, so to speak. This is a 4-year program up here. I think the Cairo is just 2, maybe
Here
3.
in Hamilton?
Here in Hamilton, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
It's a form of manual therapy. We do structural diagnosis, so misalignments of the body. Through those misalignments of the body, you can have physiological dysfunction. And if you can correct the mechanical discord, you can fix the physiology through the nerves that are innervating both sides.
Can you give an example of like a certain case or
in a recent book we are currently reading in school, there are plenty of those cases. Trying to think of a nice quick example for you. Um, a girl had fallen out of a apple tree, and she seemed fine. And then the next day, she had woken up and she was puking and very, very not unwell. And so the osteopath at the time, which was about 1905, came to treat her, and actually I believe it was 10 years prior to that. But anyways, came to treat her, and he determined that her sacrum had been laterally shifted. So he adjusted the sacrum, put it back into its proper place, and then she was immediately fine. She actually had trouble walking as well when she the next morning as well with the puking.
So she, I don't know if you know from your book, so she decided right away to go to an osteopath, or
Her parents actually. So this is one of the very first stories, one of the very first cases of it, of him going to treat somebody on his own. This was Dr. Still. He had gone to the parents' house. The parents had been friends with him, very close friends of the founder of osteopathy. So that's how, and this was one of the first cases in the book, and the book recounts the early history of osteopathy.
so it sounds something that's very holistic and doesn't use, it's against medicine, or
Not against it.
Not against.
In correlation with, or some things would require absolute doctor of medicine, allopathic medicine. But a lot of things can be remedied without the use of surgeries or pills or drugs. Basically, we are against drugs and serums.
do you hear a lot of people kind of putting it down because in this day and age everyone's for, you know, a quick fix, drugs, injections?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what do you think about?
Yeah, people. Actually, a lot of people are very open to it nowadays. I find we're definitely going into more natural ways of everything. You see it in like supermarkets. I guess you get organic foods here, natural foods everywhere. So everybody wants to go to a more natural, healthy, clean way of living. So I don't think there's actually that much pushback. People don't really understand it yet, and it's still hard for me as a first year student to even explain it. A fourth year is much more articulate in explaining to what exactly it is. It comes down to what nerves are being innervated, and the same nerve that is related to an organ is going to come and eventually get back to the spine somewhere. So if you follow the course of the nerve, you can make people find the lesion. The lesion is the problem. You fix the problem, mechanical problem, and wherever that nerve follows, it should do its job.
So would you say it's, I don't want to say better than a doctor who will just give you a pill to make you not feel anything? It actually gets to the root of the problem so that you don't have to keep coming back.
That's probably the main difference in that and any other field, is that it looks for cause, not result, or not the effect. Cause, not the effect. So, you know, you get a pain in your shoulder. It might not be coming from your shoulder. It could be coming from your opposite hip. It could be coming from just about anywhere. It could be coming from your wrist all the way up through. Whereas most places, physio, massage, you get a pain in your shoulder, they look at your shoulder. I mean, like, unless something fell down and smacked you in the shoulder, there's a good chance that if you just woke up with shoulder pain one day, or if you had it chronically even, that it's coming from somewhere else.
So it took you how long has it been, like, to get to this degree?
Let's see, well, graduated high school 2007, and I started osteopathy in early 2017, March 2017, so 10 years.
10 years. So how do you feel about that length of time to get you to where you are now?
Don't regret a thing. Yeah, I don't regret that. Anything I've done before this, because it got me to osteopathy, and I wholeheartedly believe in it. I think it's an amazing, amazing thing. More people should look into it. Classical osteopathy, 4-year programs. Like, people need to do that.
Awesome. So you're already in your first year. What are your goals for the end of this program? So in 3 more years, you'll be done. What do you see yourself doing with osteopathy?
I eventually want to go back to the East Coast. We're here in Ontario right now. Eventually, I'd like to go back somewhere on the East Coast, maybe Fredericton, where I went to university. I would like to go travel a little bit as well, do some osteopathy abroad, maybe even render free services. I definitely want to render free services when I get back to people that could benefit from some medical care, that alternative care that can't afford it. It's always been something I want to do. So I think ultimately travel, do some osteopathy, go back home.
Do you want to travel because you haven't had time
Basically,
to travel? Like that you're
I've
itching?
always been one of my big goals to travel, yeah. And I've never been able to really do it. This is as far west as I've ever been. Haven't been much further south. So.
Do you think people will be receptive to osteopathy in Fredericton? It's a smaller city.
Yeah, not a lot of people understand what it is yet either. I think eventually word will get out. The results will speak for themselves. So I just plan to become the best osteopath, and I don't need to defend it. It'll defend itself, basically.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.